I would like to welcome you all in this wonderful Word of God. Today we are going to study something called sin in a Greek context. Now, sin has four meanings according to the Greek where it was derived from. The first one is called anomia. Anomia is translated into lawlessness, living as though there are no laws or contempt of the rules of the land. There is another meaning called palabesis. Palabesis, it is transgression. Transgression means you have missed the line, or there's a line that was placed there, then you pass it. There is a boundary that was placed there, then you pass it. If you pass that boundary, then you have sinned. There's another word called adikia. Adikia is unrighteousness, sin that acts which are bad and are done to our fellow members of the community. So that is adikia. There is a fourth one called amatia. Amatia is missing the mark. Missing the mark. For example, if they say that you're supposed to go to Entebbe, and then you stop at Avaita, you have sinned. The mark that was placed there is for you to go to where? To Entebbe. But if you reach Avaita, Avavili, and you don't reach Entebbe, you have sinned. There is a marker. There is a mark that was placed there. So those who are playing darts, if you are supposed to pray, to place that in the middle of the circle, and then you place it outside the circle, you have sinned. That is total sin. Now, let me bring this word back home for you to understand. God has expectations for you as a believer, for you as someone that He created. Which expectations? He set some things that you have to reach. There are some things, there are some purposes that God blessed you to reach. I'll come back, then I explain to you about the gifts. There are some things that God gave you, or there is some level God is expecting you to reach. There is some purpose God has for you. So if you don't reach that purpose, not particularly you going into stealing, corruption, adultery, abusing, but if you miss that, if you do acts that make you miss what God purposed you to do or to become, you have sinned. That is total sin. You have sinned against God because you have failed to reach where God expects you to reach. Now, you are supposed to be a business person, and then you are in agriculture. That's why you have to make sure that you hear the voice of God. What does God has for you in this life? Say that you don't miss heaven. Some people will miss heaven because they have sinned. They have lived a life not to the expectation of God for their lives, not to what God expects them to do, or not to what God expects them to live. So if you live a life whereby God doesn't expect you to live, then you have sinned. God bless you.